Hey there, and welcome to the Prompt Me Maybe podcast. This is your go-to spot for all things artificial intelligence, the good, the bad, the scary, and the hairy. You know who you are. If you're a human who's interested in learning more about AI for yourself or your business, then you're in the right place. And whether you're freaked out or excited about the AI frontier, you'll find what you're looking for right here. I'm Michelle, and I'll be your guide on this wild artificial intelligence ride. Yes, I am a real person. You will soon realize that if you haven't already, based on the many flub ups and mistakes that I will make while we're together here. I'm also a mom, and I'm from the Midwest. So you might hear a couple of oots and a boots here and there as well. I am an AI ethicist as well as a business strategist. So I bring a lot of the commingling between those two areas into our discussions that we have. I'm equally obsessed with the incredible things that AI can do in this world and talking through those, just miracles. And I'm deeply concerned about what it could do. There is a lot of terrifying things to talk through as well. In each episode, we're going to deep dive into these messy ethics that come up as we're discussing the exciting new capabilities, as well as the dilemmas that those capabilities make us have to confront. And we'll figure out how we can all stay human in this AI-driven world. So welcome to Prompt Me Maybe. Today in this episode, we're going to talk about that messy ethical dilemma that I'm calling the personalized learning AI versus the unseen hand dilemma. We're going to talk through 3 areas specifically that come up when diving into this ethical dilemma. Those 3 areas are privacy versus the benefit, autonomy versus algorithmic guidance. That's a fun one. That's like say it 10 times fast situation. And then bias and fairness in shaping our futures. So we'll dig into each of those a little bit further. But first, I want to start by talking about why we're doing this again. So different from other AI podcasts, conversations, content, everything that's out there, this is really about us connecting and being human together in this AI-driven world. So we're going to take bites out of this enormous AI pie and bring down the temperature while we look at things through a tangible lens, a way of looking at things as they impact us and make it real for us. Let's bring this conceptual, large, hairy, scary thing into sight and something that's digestible. And it's a time for us to just hold space together to learn and grow. So I'm not going to be perfect. It's just not going to happen. I don't expect you to be either. We're going to learn together and we're going to keep working through and having tough conversations. So even in today's topic, you might hear me say things that kind of ruffle your feathers or, stroke the cat's hair backwards kind of thing. Or you might just pause and think like, wow, she's really stupid. And that's fine because I'm an imperfect human, as are you. So we get to be imperfect and learn and grow together in this space. I'm under no illusion that because I have an AI ethics certification that I somehow know everything. There is so much vast, unbelievable unknown that I'm excited to go through with you. Okay. And then I think like the most important thing to highlight, which is directly related to our episode today, is my main mission and my main why for digging into AI in this framework and with you is because I'm driven to create a better future for our children. I want to dig deep enough, know enough, understand enough, and ask these difficult questions together with you so that we can help shape that future for our children. I want to ensure that artificial intelligence is being developed and deployed in a way that's inclusive of goodness for humanity and our planet, and not with the sole key performance indicators and objectives focused on money and, gee, isn't that cool that we can do that with technology? I don't want those to be the driving force. I want the driving force to be how do we use AI to better humanity and our planet at large? So little track back on the why here. But speaking of doing this for the kids, let's go into today's topic at hand. Actually, pause, rewind. Every episode will be a little different. We'll tackle different things that have to do with business strategy and AI versus like ethical dilemmas versus what's new in the news kind of thing. So we'll meander together through this. So today's focus is something near and dear to my heart because it's challenging and there's no perfect answer. So as you're listening, as we're moving through this conversation topic, process it through the lens of objectivity. And then when it's applicable, you can start to think about like, how does this apply to my life or how I see the world, and start to have some of that inner dialogue to move through on the topic. That's how I like to process through these ethical dilemmas and questions is, what does this mean to the world at large? And if it didn't impact me and it wasn't personal to me at all, how would I see it? Versus now I'm going to look at it as if it's very personal to me. And then how do I feel about it? So kind of getting the two different points of view on it through those lenses. Okay. So we're focused on an ethical dilemma today that highlights an age-old question, believe it or not, that AI is just amplifying, around individualization and societal integration for our kids. So the idea of how much a learning path or a child's environment should be curated to them as an individual is a question that parents and educators have struggled with for a long time. Before AI has ever been around, artificial intelligence wasn't even a thing. And they were questioning like, how much should our learning plans or an environment be specific to or catered to a child versus how much should a child be expected to adapt to their environment? And when are we stunting their development by individualizing versus when are we giving them a lift up by doing that? So AI just amplifies that and then adds more conundrum to it through various other elements. So that's what we're going to dig into today. And we're going to start with a really fun visualization. So I want you, no matter where you are and no matter how dorky this feels, and girl, it's going to get dorky. So get dorky with me. Close your eyes. And in your mind's eye, imagine a future where advanced AI systems offer hyper-personalized educational and developmental experiences for children from birth to adulthood. So I'm talking these AI companions are integrated into smart homes and learning devices and continuously monitor a child's cognitive development, emotional states, learning styles, even social interactions. And then they adapt their content, that learning content and development content in real time. They recommend optimal learning pathways to move forward with. It can identify potential challenges early and even tailor social simulations to help a child develop specific skills or overcome different anxieties or stressors. So the stated goal here for this hyper-personalized educational system is to promote the well-being of individuals and society and enhance positive outcomes. So think about what that could look like and all the advantages that it could have. And I'm sure if you're anything like me, you can't even think about this without immediately thinking about all the problems that this stirs up. So you can blink your eyes open if you'd like. Otherwise, if you needed a little snoozer, keep your eyes closed. A wink winker. On one hand, tailoring a child's education to their unique needs and strengths could help them reach their full potential. I mean, the advantages could be astronomical, right? On the other hand, if a child's environment is always perfectly customized, are we setting them up to fail in the real world? Now, this is assuming that at some point we shut the system off, like they become 18 and we shut it down, right? When I was thinking through this scenario and this dilemma in my head, what came up for me was like, oh, geez, is the outcome long-term that suddenly we just have these AI shields around us that, and I'm speaking like metaphorically, but essentially like that detect everything in our purview and even our own like physical, like little ticks or things like that, that it can sense our movements or breathing or things like that. And suddenly it's shaping even as adults, giving us recommended paths forward and recommended ways to handle different social situations or how to communicate. What if our AIs, like our shields, bump up against each other and they communicate how to best communicate with each other as human beings and make recommendations, and then we actually open our mouths afterwards? Oh my gosh, I just like went way into this. Like, is that what's going to be designed for our future? And we have this AI middleman technology that does our upfront communication for us and our interactions for us. Oh, terrifies me. Don't want it. No, thank you. Just in case you're keeping tally somewhere, my Big Ten friends out there. I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about Big Ten AI. Like, no, thank you. I still want to interact with my humans as humans. Okay, that's a tangent. I'm going to bringing us back in. Okay, so society often requires us to navigate situations that don't at all cater to our individual preferences or needs. We know that as adults, like we've experienced, we get it. Like you have to adapt to the world. The world does not adapt to you. And so those overly customized experiences may hinder a child from developing the adaptability and resilience necessary to succeed, right? So this is one aspect of it, just thinking through those components. Some of you listening might be thinking, is this a real thing? Are we doing this? Like, is Michelle just going off on a weird tangent and prompting something that doesn't really exist and blah, blah, blah. This is stuff that they're trying to figure out right now. Like this is real deal, like educational tutoring. It's not even that they're trying to figure it out. It's like plug and play with tutoring features on some of the major systems today. It's not to the degree in which I described the scenario, but I mean, they're definitely modeling this hyper-focused way of learning and interacting with kids to teach them. So like, just, this isn't too far-fetched. I'm not going to get into the wearables that they're doing at MIT right now, but this is not too far-fetched of a scenario. So if that freaks you out, I apologize. And also you're welcome, because knowledge is power. So, okay. So let's shift into some of the other pieces of this, not just the part in my head where we're basically, unless we're going to have follow through as adults and create the weird world I described around our AI shields bumping up against each other and having first round communications. that we really are, it's doing a disservice to our kids. We're really like putting them in a bubble and then just popping the bubble when they're 18. But having said that, there's also issues with privacy, algorithmic guidance issues, and then really like the bias in the data itself that can be shaping a future that we don't necessarily want. But we can talk through that. I mean, maybe it is. But okay, so thinking about privacy versus the benefit, how do we balance the immense benefits, again, because there is real benefit here, of hyper personalized learning and development for children with that fundamental right to privacy and data protection? So is it even ethically justifiable to collect and analyze such extensive personal data on a developing child, knowing they cannot fully consent to it? And this is even if it's like promising to maximize their full potential, right? So that's the question here. I don't know that we'll answer, but I'll aim to talk through it a little bit. So think about it like this is their perfect coach. This is a child's perfect coach. And it is constantly observing every move, every interaction in home, at school, out on the playground, and then promising to tailor every lesson and activity for their optimal success. But in doing so, that perfect coach has lifelong access to every aspect of the child's personal life, school life, friends, everything. They have access and memory of all of it. And with the promise of superior performance, that privacy, that data would be stored in perpetuity, right? So without the child ever having a say in it being stored, ever having a say in it being tracked, right? And no ability to opt out later. Like if there's no opt out option later, then like that in and of itself is a dilemma of the ability to be forgotten by technology, which is something we struggle with anyways as adults, I think, in this weird surveillance state that we live in. But for a child, you're adding that extra realm of them not even being able to make that conscious decision for themselves. Okay, so that's the privacy piece. Noodle on that. I can feel a friend of mine right now listening through space and time. I can feel her going, okay, that's good for today. Michelle, that's enough. Like you have successfully freaked me out. I'll keep it short and sweet for the next pieces. Okay. They're not short or sweet, but okay. So now let's talk about autonomy versus algorithmic guidance. I just have visuals for all of this. This is the one that just came to mind. Okay. If we think about this coach, right? But now I want you to shift and think of this coach. Not only is it like their perfect all-seeing coach that can really tailor everything to that child, but at the same time, they hold the strings of the child like a puppet master, because they understand and they have all that data and they understand the behaviors of that kid because they're constantly watching. And that is the coach's sole purpose in life, is to constantly watch, observe, and know that child. They are able to understand which strings to pull to create which behaviors, right? So while seemingly offering choices, they're subtly pulling these invisible strings that gently guide them towards predetermined actions or interests, right? Like almost like subliminal advertising, effectively shaping their play, their learning, their growth, their development, their interactions with others, all without them realizing their choices are being constantly optimized by, here's the word, by that unseen hand, rather than originated from their own uninfluenced free will. So although this might bring that beauty of individualized learning and an ability to reach them to their fullest potential that like a standardized learning practice might not be able to get them to, at the same time, all of that data can be leveraged to pull strings to create behaviors that we want to create, which on its head, like, I mean, that's the point of it in the first place, right? Like that's the optimized learning, is that you're able, because it understands the child so well, it's able to do different methods of teaching or mentoring in order to create different outcomes. Like that's its purpose. So it's acting as its perfect purpose, but is it okay to take away a child's free will like that? Okay, now my friend out in space and time is really throwing up her hands and saying, okay, Michelle, that's it. Close it down. Shut it down. Yeah, one more to cover, and then we shut it down. Okay. Because I could do an episode on each of these. I'm sure you can feel that through the mic here, through your ears. You can feel that like I could sit and talk about each of these 3 pieces a lot more, but we're doing just enough today. All right, let's talk about bias and fairness and shaping a child's future. So, okay, this is important. I want you to think about how you've created, like anything that comes into your pathway, your mind, into your space, information, experiences, you have those come through the filters of your past experiences, right? So you've decided what certain things mean to you. You've decided likes and don't likes. You've decided, like you have filters already established. So it's no different for so you have biases, essentially, is what, like, your filters are your biases. It's no different for the training data for our LLMs, right? So for our artificial Gen AI systems, our LLMs, large language models, they're going to inherit biases through the data itself, which is going to lead to unfair outcomes. So basically, the data coming through from the history of humanity as we know it is going to inform and influence how an LLM is behaving. Okay? So could an AI trained on historical data perpetuate or even exacerbate existing inequalities by directing children from marginalized communities towards less advantageous opportunities despite its fairness goals? Like, think about that. What if the personalized pathways recommended by the AI are inadvertently biased against certain demographics or socioeconomic backgrounds? And now that's how it's beginning to train, teach, mentor the child. Visualize again with me. Okay, we have, we're going to think of it like a rigged racetrack. We have a personal life path generator. That's really what we're talking about. That's what I should have named it up front. Okay. Designed to help children achieve their potential. Dilemma is, if the system unknowingly trained on historical societal biases automatically nudges children from certain backgrounds onto certain tracks. And on those tracks, there are hidden hurdles or fewer opportunities, or less hurdles and more opportunities. Even if this life path generator claims to be optimizing for their best future, it could be perpetuating existing inequalities because of how the data itself was trained and its bias. So I'm old school. I would rather my kids be trained by the biases of the human teacher. Like that's my, I'm going to go a little lighthearted on you here, but like we all have biases, right? Like filters. I mean, I'm not talking about like super severe or heavy or harsh biases, but we all just have like, are you a Dallas Cowboys fan or a Vikings fan? Like we all have biases. There are little things that we like, just like filters. And then there's deeper stuff that's more about prejudices and things of that nature. Well, all of that data is coming from somewhere, right? And that somewhere is creating the biases in which the LLM operates out of as truth, as a source of truth. And then creating from there. So this dilemma highlights the need for robust AI governance and compliance frameworks on all things we're doing, but especially when it comes to our kids and the direction that a lot of AI companies are pushing for education for our children in leveraging AI systems. We need to really think through the benefit, which, I mean, realistically, I didn't even focus on this. There's huge benefits for kids with learning disabilities. Huge benefit to be able to individualize the lesson plan for them and set them up for success. That's nothing to scoff at. I mean, that's real and could help a lot of kids. I think the question comes down to is the benefit outweigh the cost as a whole? Is that a decision that is made collectively through regulation? Is that a question that's made individually by parents, by schools? Like how does this all shake out? And is anybody having this conversation besides us, guys? I know they are. But this is where there has to be really thoughtful, intelligent conversations happening, not just here in our space, not just with those of us that are obsessed with AI and thinking about these things, but our regulators. Man, we got to be talking about this because our kids are at the effect of our choices today and how we allow AI to infiltrate and influence their lives. So we need to be thinking about this. Let's be honest, social media messed it up there, guys. Didn't get anything done. We still don't have a comprehensive law protecting our children from social media. I could go. I'll stop myself. That's not what we're talking about today. Still don't have a comprehensive data privacy law in the United States. We got GDPR in the EU, but not one here. So AI is wonderful, amazing. It's going to do wonders for our world. And it is also terrifying. And we need to get our act together and get an act together. Get our acts together and get an act together holistically. And thank you to the states that are trying. We appreciate you. Thank you to the countries that are already doing it. EU, AI Act. Awesome. Shout out to you. Colorado, big shout out to you. Nicely done. They got the first comprehensive bill out. But we definitely, for the kids side of the house, we got to be having these conversations. We got to get something down. It's got to happen because ain't nothing stopping anybody right now. Okay, So personal note, me, when I think about this, it's a definitely benefit cost balancing act here, but realistically, like I am a person that wants my kids to live in the real world by the laws of the universe and not by an imaginary world by the laws of an algorithm. So for me, it's a no, not my preference. I would like us to find a way to be more thoughtful about this, and be encouraging our kids to connect with each other and the world around them in the tangibles. I want them to know I want them to get their hands in the dirt. I want them to go climb trees. I want them to hug each other. I want them to talk. Like I want that. Call me old school, but that's my desire. So for me, this is a real struggle. It would be a struggle to get me on board, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. I think, again, objectively thinking about it as a whole for society and our world, and then personally thinking about it, the impact to you. So let me know in the comments. I really do want to know your thoughts about this, where you sit and where your head goes when you hear all of this. All right, that's our episode for today at Prompt Me Maybe. You made it this far, so you must like something. You must be digging it. I've got 2 action items for you. 1, subscribe immediately. Click the button right now, and then we can stay connected. And 2, take a moment to think of someone that needs to be in our inner circle. They need to be here with us. See their face, think of their name, and share this episode with them right now. Get them in here with us. Next episode, we're going to tackle the corporate implementation problem. This is a big one. If you're currently being tasked with integrating AI into your company, you think you need to be integrating AI into your company, but don't know how yet, or you're an employee just trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing with this AI stuff they're telling you to use. This next episode is one for you, so please do listen. We're going to talk through why these AI implementations are failing. It's a big, big fail. And costing companies a lot of money just to fail. So we'll talk that out. On deck after that is a top AI news story. It's one that has broken my heart. I don't have other words for it. It's really broken my heart, but we need to discuss it. So it's changed our world forever and we need to talk it out. So that'll be the one after our business implementation problem. That's all for today. Thanks for listening to Prompt Me Maybe. I'm Michelle, and you stay human, planet Earth.